It was an interesting weekend to say the least. And at the end of this show, it'll be around 10:05. We usually get out of here. And when the clock strikes 11, it will be 48 hours since all madness started happening over the last 48 hours for me.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts. And then, of course, you get a game that is just weird because you got two backup quarterbacks in it, and you and Jim Nantz. You got the plexiglass in front of you, and it was fun to watch. I watched that entire game just because of you, not because of a Streveler and a Wolford. Yeah. I didn't need any more of that in my life, to be honest with you.
You know what's really funny? So yesterday, Streveler throws an interception. Right? So
yeah.
I'm like, oh, my God, where is this guy throwing the ball?
It's a pick six.
Right.
Yep.
This is not the CFL. This is not the Grey Cup. And by the way, he threw a lot of interceptions in the CFL as well.
Right.
And we also showed some video of him
celebrating
with the Grey Cup. And I said he'd be a perfect cast member for Yellowstone with Kevin Costner.
Right. Guy with no shirt on and the big jacket and the chain and everything.
And he's got the beard. He's got the beard like you and Fitzpatrick and everything. He's got the cowboy hat on. He's got the shiny glasses. It was perfect. So anyway, he throws this interception. So almost at the same time as this ball was being run back, and I'm describing this and how he should be throwing the ball here and what is he thinking about, and these are the kinds of mistakes that are going to cost you the game or whatever else I said. Within about 2 minutes, Nantz gets a text. And I get a text. My text is from you saying, I think he thought that the Cardinals were offsides.
Yeah.
Nantz gets a text from Peyton Manning saying, I think he thought that the Cardinals were offside. So I'm like, Jesus. So now I got to go back, and I have a clicker. So the analyst has a clicker in the booth there. The booth is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, any amount of information you want, anybody that, any way that makes the broadcast better, they're there to help you. Now I've never worked, or I haven't worked since the days of Monday Night Football in a TV booth like this as being the main analyst.
Right.
I've always been in the radio booth where we don't have that kind of money to be able to pay for those kind of add-ons, if you will. So I'm looking at Jim. I'm going, you got Peyton Manning, I got you up my ass. What are we going to do here? I said, man, I hope I didn't misread this. So I go back and I'm looking at this play over and over and over again. And there's a guy, Josh, who works in the truck, who's also watching the plays with me. He's the one that builds all the replays and all that other stuff. And we're looking at this together, and he and I are off air, are talking about this as the game is still going on.
Right.
And I'm like, Gio says the guy jumped offside. Peyton Manning says the guy jumped offside. This guy jumped offside. And I'm like, and by the way, who is Streveler to think that he can make that decision and decide to throw the ball down the middle of the field? Yeah. I love just the weirdness in this, the craziness of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And that just added to what was, for me anyway, it was a great day. It was an honor to be out there and just to be pinch hitting for Tony. And hopefully Tony's okay. I don't know. But to be a part of it was just the chaos. It was the chaotic aspect of being in the middle of COVID-19, all the protocols, everything that you got to go through to make something like that happen. And I have to say, CBS did everything possible to make sure that I was safe. I had to go through just a litany of protocols to make this all happen. I think I've been tested 3 times in the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
And I'll get another test again today, like I'm on a normal schedule now.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories in recent memory. Me and Peyton Manning, football guys. We just saw a couple things in the game. We wanted to let you know. Just wanted to add a little bit to the broadcast if we could.
God,
me and Peyton.
Hilarious.
All right.
I have to tell you, I was laughing.
Good.
Because all I could think of is you doing Adam Shine, your impression. And I'm just thinking about it. This is unbelievable. If only America truly knew what the hell was going on at this moment.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk some Giants. And, of course, the Giants end up holding on against the Cowboys. They got out to a big lead. They were up a couple touchdowns. They basically let the game slip away, couldn't do a damn thing offensively for what felt like an eternity, but were able to figure it out both offensively and defensively. Wayne Gallman almost chokes it up in the fourth quarter, but it ends up being okay. They win the game, so we head into Sunday Night Football. Now, I know that Giants fans are pissed. I get it. To see Doug Peterson, and he's lying through his teeth because obviously Nate Sudfeld is in the game because they don't need to win the game because they wanted to hang on to the best possible draft pick that they could. It didn't mean anything to them. That's why everybody was inactive. That's why he didn't kick a field goal to tie the game. We all understand that. So you're pissed about it. But let's not forget that last year, the same Giant fans that are complaining about this wanted them to lose in Week 17 and were complaining
for
about
different reasons, though.
winning hold on, but they were talking about, winning a meaningless game, and they're going to lose out on Chase Young, who, of course, we see again last night being a stud. And also, this entire year, we've been talking about the other team and the Jets going out there and losing to be 0-16 so they get Trevor Lawrence. So stuff like this happens. And it happened last night.
Yeah, but it sucks the way it happened last night.
I know that it doesn't sit well, but come on.
You want to know why it really sucks is because that game was moved to Sunday night because it was going to be a determining factor game, and meaning that, there were 3 teams involved in the outcome of that game last night.
Sure.
That had something riding on it. And I was able to watch the game coming back last night, so I saw everything. I saw the whole thing unfold, and I was disgusted. And I'm not a Giant fan, but I do have friends of mine that are Giant fans that, number one, are disgusted that their team is 6-10. Number two is that they lost to Philadelphia earlier in the season. They could have taken care of business, then or in Dallas earlier in the year. So they're pissed at that. Another losing record. That's a stain that they can't get away from. And maybe, if Philadelphia would have won last night and they would have gotten into the playoffs, then maybe the Giant fan could say, hey, at least we're seeing progress here. So now they're stuck where they've always been stuck. It seems like they've been stuck for the last 10 years. So I totally understand, or 8 years. So I understand where the Giant fan is coming from. I don't know. As a former player, if I were a Giant player, I would have reacted the way the Giant players were reacting last night. I reacted that way.
Sure.
I'm like, Nate Sudfeld, and I understand Doug Peterson saying after the game, I was trying to win, and Nate's been here for 3 years, and he deserves some reps. I'm like, see, that to me is not trying to win the game. Now, I know Jalen Hurts was not playing great, but the one thing that Jalen Hurts can do that Nate Sudfeld obviously cannot do is get away from people. That's his game. Even though he had only completed 7 passes, out of 22, 23 attempts.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and they were in the game.
He could still run, and you could tell he was a little disgusted.
Of course.
On the sideline. And so here's the thing. I'm trying to watch this thing, and the only way and the only broadcast that I could get, for some reason, I don't know.
Ricky Ricardo's Spanish book?
Yes, I got the funny. Spanish broadcast. So it's the only broadcast. I guess he was doing TV. I don't know if he was. It was Telemundo or whatever. Whoever carries the Spanish. It's the only one I could get. I could not get the English broadcast. I don't know why.
Wow.
So I don't know what Alan and Chris were saying as this was all unfolding. I'm assuming that they were going off on it, but I don't know. I was sitting there just thinking, my God, what the hell is Doug Peterson doing? And I know that eschewing the game-tying field goal attempt,
sure,
it's kind of in his DNA. This is what he's been doing. He's a guy that always goes for it on 4th and goal and this and that and everything else. But, last night, I just felt like there were 2 franchises. Well, before last night was 1 franchise, the Giants. But going into the weekend was 3 franchises that this whole thing was riding on. And that's why NBC and the NFL put it in Sunday night primetime. For it to happen that way in prime time,
it's a bad look.
It is a disgrace.
I'll give you that. I will agree that it is different with what I thought the Jets were doing and what happened last night, because from all indications, Doug Peterson's coming back. Jalen Hurts is going to come back. I don't know what's going to happen with Carson Wentz. There's going to be some changes on that roster, but a lot of those guys are going to be there. Like, that could sit really poorly with the core of that team next year. Whereas the Jets, I was expecting them to go 0-16, lose every game. The coach is gone, the quarterback is gone, and then you're moving on. So it is a little bit different. But, I mean, let's not forget that, there are lots of Giant fans that did not want things to go the way that it did at the end of last year, that the Eagles did exactly that. The Giant fan wanted their team to do what the Eagles did last year. And it screwed them this time. Now, if you were going to be 11-5, 12-4, 10-6, and somehow miss the playoffs in some sort of crazy year, if it was the opposite of what we saw in the NFC East, I could see you being pissed. But, I mean, how many opportunities did you have? You finished 6-10.
Yeah, I know that. But I, forget all that. I mean, it comes down to really a coach trying to win a game. And normally, players don't care. Players want to win. Players go out. They don't care about next year. They don't care about the draft. Sure. Now, maybe Sam Darnold may care about it because he may lose a job because the Jets have another high pick in this draft, and Joe Douglas is going to be making it. And remember, Joe Douglas did not pick Sam Darnold. That was Mike McCagnon who made the trade for him. So usually when you're in this territory and you're that significant of a player and important of a player, if you are not the GM's pick, the GM doesn't have your back.
Yeah,
so
the GMs want their own guy. They're going to live and die with their own guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. I look at this last night, and I just say, man, it just felt wrong. And the fact that the NFL put the game in prime time, and it gave, New York Giant fans, or it would have been Dallas Cowboy fans, by the way, gave New York Giant fans something to look forward to. It was almost like everybody got hoodwinked by Doug Peterson. Watch the game. Our team can win. And I to me, it's like if they would have left Jalen Hurts in there, I think they probably could have won the game.
Yeah, I wonder how Eagle fans feel about it. Like, honestly, are they happy that they got a higher draft pick? I mean, all we've been talking,
point, yes, at 100.
Or are they just sick about the fact that their team tried to lose on national TV?
When Nate Sudfeld.
I don't know. I think there's some pride.
By the way, where are these guys coming from?
Well, the old Walford and Streveler and Sudfeld. Is that what you're talking about?
I will say, after the initial anxiousness of John Walford yesterday, he finally settled down a little bit.
Yeah.
They couldn't score touchdowns. They had a defensive touchdown, they had a safety, and they settled for field goals. But as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, they're going to win. And they turned the ball over twice. He did throw an interception on his first attempt ever as a quarterback, but he calmed down and he played well enough to beat a beat-up Cardinal team. But, Seth Joyner said after the game last night, I guess he's living in Philadelphia doing post-game commentary and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
And, he's a former teammate of mine out in Arizona. I mean, that guy's intense. That guy is, about as intense. He looks intense. He's very intense. And he pulled no punches last night. He goes, this is a disgrace what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing.
Yeah, listen, I understand that it's a disgrace. I understand that you want your team to always try to win. We always talk about the players wanting to win, but this is a reality. I mean, it is. Let's not act too, by the way. So the Jacksonville Jaguars did the same thing.
100%.
They went back to Mike Glennon. They sat James Robinson, all the stuff that we wanted the Jets to do. So I'm not going to sit. I would be a hypocrite this morning if I sat here and said that the Philadelphia Eagles should have never done that. When the entire year I've been talking about how the Jets need to do whatever they can to go 0-16. I can't do that. Those two things can't exist in the same brain. So this stuff happens. So I understand that it's a bad look for the NFL. It's on national TV. A playoff spot was on the line. All of these things. But if a team and Howie Roseman and his underlings and Doug Peterson believe that moving up 3 spots in the first round of the draft means more to their team than not, and they choose to go about it this way, and it ends up screwing you,
so obvious,
then tough.
Obvious. But I will say that, I know Doug Peterson a little bit. I don't know him all that well. I do know people who do know him very well and who have worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
And every single guy that has worked for him and knows him in this business says, and this is going to be a hard word for, I think, Giant fans to swallow, that he has the highest of integrity for doing what he does and how he does it.
Well,
and if he's not, unless Howie Roseman or, the owner, Jeff Lurie down there, has told him, look, we cannot win this game. For whatever reason, maybe they have identified a new quarterback. Maybe it is Justin Fields. Maybe it is Zach Wilson. Who knows? But they right now have the 6th overall pick in the draft. They did not fall below Detroit, Carolina, and Denver. All those 3 teams are 5-11. So they did protect, and it looked to me, and I think it looked to a lot of us, like Doug Peterson was protecting that draft pick.
I mean, there's no reason to play Nate Sudfeld other than that.
There's no reason not to kick the game-tying field goal.
I mean, that's what that was. I mean, so Doug Peterson says after the game, Nate's been here for 4 years.
Does that matter?
He earned a snap or 2. That's just a bunch of crap. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a guy that every snap in the NFL is going to benefit him because he's a rookie quarterback.
Remember, this was also the coach that stood behind Carson Wentz, which I appreciated, but it was almost like somebody got to him and said, guess what? You're playing Jalen Hurts.
Sure. Yeah, well, it's over now, and here we are, another year with no playoffs with the Jets and Giants. We knew that was clinched a long time ago. With the Jets, we didn't know until late last night with the Giants. But this season, if the Giants had made the playoffs somehow, and Philadelphia doesn't do what they do last night, they win, and they go and they play a competitive game against Tampa Bay or somehow beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, the season feels like a win. It feels like a real step in the right direction. But even after beating the Cowboys and missing the playoffs, going 6-10, missed opportunities, you feel like they took a step forward. But how far? Like this season, it's a weird one to evaluate with the Giants. And Daniel Jones looked a hell of a lot better when he was healthy. I do like Joe Judge and what he's building, but there was a point when they went on that winning streak, we were like, they got the right guys. And now here we are again, kind of with some more question marks.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.